Hi, and welcome to the morning news.
Cut!
Chelsea has some headlights that she wants to put in, but they come with a ballast, and she doesn't want them to be in the engine bay, so I had to get a little creative to try and hide it in the headlight assembly, which with the top on it, it's very, very tight. Like, you really don't have any kind of room. So what I came up with is basically this. So I took all the wires out of the back, looped it around, and then looped it again. Like, it's probably a little hard to see, but I'll try and show it as best as I can. So just looped it all the way around with this part hanging out, because this is what's going to connect to the wiring harness. So with all these connectors on this side, now I'm doing the passenger side headlight right now. If you're doing the driver side headlight, then it would be this, but switched over. Now, with this, there's nowhere to really mount it onto the bottom of this assembly right here, which is where we're going to be mounting it. So I had to get a little creative so that this sits down there, doesn't move while we're driving. First, zip tied all that down with just one. And I took some smaller zip ties and just kind of made loops, because what I'll end up doing is feeding another one through this with the plate right here to lock that down. And then another one a little bit longer. There it is, on the back side. There's one little piece, 2, 3. The side with the 2 is actually gonna go towards the front of the car. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take just a normal zip tie and then put it through these 2 holes right here. And then we're actually gonna loop it so that it'll suck it down right into that. And then with the zip tie down here in the very bottom, you're just gonna lightly put that on there. I'm sure you've noticed these wires up here. This is when it starts to get a little tricky. So now what you want to do, or what I have to do I should say, is take the headlight wires and connect them. Now I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but this is just what I've found, and this is what seems to work right now. So we're gonna set that in there. And I'm going to put on the retaining cage for the headlight so it doesn't move. So as you can see, now it's a big old jumbly mess right here. So that is actually going to fit kind of like that. And there is clearance. Like, it barely touches, and it's just lightly. So with that there, that's where that's actually gonna sit. Now, to the back side. The small loop we made here, we're gonna take a zip tie, put that through it, and then go all the way to the front zip tie and connect them together. Going from the back here to this one that we left pretty loose, we connected them together. So now that all that's kind of connected, we can tighten all of these down, and this will suck that ballast right up to the chassis or the bottom of this. That right there won't move while you're driving, and it's also going to clear everything else. These we're actually going to go to the halo itself. The next part that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wire, which actually goes to the original wiring harness for the headlight. And all I'm gonna do is tuck it back and forth, and I'm gonna zip tie it around the red wire, just enough to hold it steady. That way it's not shifting about. Now again, there is probably an easier way to do all this, like just getting an LED headlight. But Chelsea wanted HIDs and everything like that, so that's what she's getting. Now, that wire goes together right there. If I can figure that out. That goes there. This goes right back out the main way, and then, like I said, we'll connect these up, and then all I'm gonna do is flip this over, trim the excess. Look at that. That thing's not moving. Now, with this, as you can see, the wires just go up over the side of it right here. With the headlight, or with the top of the headlight here, the wires will be pushed down and it's not going to interfere with it, so you'll be perfectly fine. But now I'm going to take the top of the headlight, put it onto the 2 front bolts first, and just slide it right over. Helps if I'm lined up. So as you can see, the wires are up, but they barely touch it, so they won't even interfere or dent the top of this. The very first set we bought, we just kind of mashed them in there. We're like, oh great, they fit. Now to do this, you can do it in the car. It's just because we were already painting everything, I found it easier to do it outside of it. You know, it's whatever you feel you need to do to make it better, or how you want.
Here's the driver's side one. So basically the only thing that's coming out is the spot for the headlight plug-in. Okay guys, so just a quick update on the wiring and what I have done so far as how I'm going to run things. So pretty much the engine, the SR20 DET wiring specialties engine harness fuse box, the standalone I bought. Well, it's really hard to see, but I've hooked it here sideways to the OEM fuse box holder. And I've tucked the main wiring harness for the engine underneath it, and it's running down here, and everything that hooks to the engine is going under the manifold, and everything that goes to the transmission is going straight down. As for the stock fuse box, we're gonna have to move the engine again because I'm gonna put this back under here and run it under this brake line, and then run it under this fuse box again and have it sit where it normally sits. So it should look super clean. I've ran the left side light harnesses and all that tucked up. They'll be tucked up more underneath the fender well. And I put the AC relay under here, so you won't see any of this because of the coolant overflow. It just fits the way I have the wires. And I've run all my light wires down underneath. Ran the light motor underneath this bracket and hooked it right here with a zip tie, and the light doesn't interfere with it, which is great. And then I ran the turn signal fender light down under, and also I had a lot of slack on the actual light hookup itself, so I like crinkled it up a couple times and ran it up so I didn't have a lot of extra, so that's why this is really bulky. And then as for this, I'm going to try and make the halos blink. That's my next project. But I have to get a relay or some diodes to do that. So we're gonna try that eventually. I'm not worrying about it right now. And then I did the same thing over here, basically, but ran things a little different. I'm going to have to extend this sides light because of the way I ran the wiring, but that's not going to be that difficult. I ran the light motor here as well again, and then this light comes straight up, and then I'm running the AC compressor wire straight down with the radiator fan wire, and they'll all hook up cleanly under here, so you pretty much just see a line coming across. But I tucked this wire up in this little spot here too as well, ran it down and over the little fuse area over here and back down there. And then I have my ground sitting there. I think the engine bay wiring is coming out pretty good. I like it. Like I said, it's tucked, but it's not as tucked as some people get. Like, I don't really care that the wires are all hidden. I just want them to be mostly out of sight and looking good. I've retaped all of the wires and I've recovered all of the wiring in the engine bay, and it looks so much better. I just went ahead and bought some poly stretchy sleeve and the stuff that wraps around itself as well. But yeah, I think it looks freaking great. What do you think, Tyler?
I think it looks amazing, and the car will be going stew by summer.
We just have to pop the engine out again a little bit to fiddle with some stuff. We gotta put the oil hoses on. Waiting on the shifter gasket to put the short shifter on the transmission. As for the inside wiring, I still need to figure out where I'm gonna put all the ECUs and everything to be able to run the correct lines. I do need to buy some wiring because I don't have enough. And then I'm gonna tidy everything up in here once I know that everything works.